What's good, YouTube? Is Miles from Without Warning. We've been lacking on the YouTube content, we know, and school is over, we're quarantined up, we're really about to get back on the YouTube grind. Like, comment, subscribe if you're new, share with a friend. We're really trying to go. We appreciate every single one of you, so let's get it. I'm sure you can tell by the title, but today I'm ranking Drake discography. For the sake of just doing all of them, I'm doing Care Package and Dark Lane demo tapes as well. Figured if I'm doing 9 of his albums, I might as well do the last 2 as well. So we getting right into it. Number 11, I just said it, I got Dark Lane demo tapes. I just don't think the longevity for this project is there. It was just supposed to be something that was supposed to hold Drake fans over until he gets a big album out there. He's known to do this, like release some singles and do features here and there until a big album comes out. This was basically just one of those fillers. It's good music. None of the songs have a ton of replay value except for like From Florida with Love or Time Flies, I guess. But there are some good tracks on here. Just nothing outstanding, nothing new from Drake. If anything, it's just like a little bit more experimental, him biting like other people's flows and trying to do other styles, like what he was doing with Future and Thug, or even with Fabio Foreign on that one song. But overall, it's not a bad tape, just definitely doesn't stack up with the others. Now at number 10, I got Scorpion. I do like this project. I like the idea of it being split in half. Like, I guess the first half, the first 12 songs are more of that rapping Drake, just him going crazy. Songs like Emotionless, Mob Ties, Survival at the beginning too. A lot of good tracks there, just him going crazy on the rap. Then I guess the second half is that more R&B Drake, if you want to put Drake into that type of genre, but he's been known to do this type of style. It is really good. A lot of the best tracks are on the other half of this album, in my opinion. I really like Peak, Is There More, and then of course this album has the big hits too, like God's Plan, Nice for What, In My Feelings. Like, those are Drake's probably 3 of the top 5 Drake most streamed songs. Of course, this album came out in the big streaming era in 2018, so those probably are expected to be that. But God's Plan is like one of the best-selling rap songs of all time. Definitely going to be 2 times platinum very soon, so I guess it does deserve the respect for having hits. But even in that aspect, I feel like some of these hits don't stack up with some of Drake's best hits that he's had throughout his career, and even the more low-key songs like I named before don't stack up with the others. Definitely had to put this one at 10. Coming in at 9, we got Care Package. The last 3 tapes he dropped are my bottom 3. Kind of not really unpopular. I just think that that's just how the cookie crumbled, in my opinion. I don't think this album is bad. A lot of these songs are actually legendary Drake songs. 4 p.m. in Calabasas, 5 a.m. in Toronto, My Side, Jodeci's Freestyle, Girls Love Beyonce. There's a ton of old hits on here, and it's basically just a compilation of old Drake hits that weren't out there. I would have loved to see Sweeter Man on this album, as a lot of Drake fans would. Honestly, the best thing for this album for me is convenience. I like a lot of these songs, and they would be in my rotation, and they would have been in my rotation a long time ago if they're out there and on Apple Music. But that's what introduced me to third-party streaming like SoundCloud and YouTube and stuff like that. But now that they're on Apple, I love it, but there's just better albums. Now coming in at 8, we got So Far Gone. I actually listened to this album quite a lot recently in the past like 2-3 years, a lot more than I have in the past like 5 or 6 in the past. I've gotten back into it a lot now that I got put back on Apple Music. I think this album's awesome, bro. I think Drake is really in his pure element when Drake is really coming up. Like, if you really want to listen to Drake and like if you want to explore what Drake sounded like early on, this is an amazing album. Like Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, obviously Best I Ever Had's on here. There's a lot of other really good tracks like Uptown, Up All Night. I really do like this project. It's just, I think Drake just got better over time, bro, honestly. A lot of people and old heads might say that this is really like one of Drake's best projects, which in their opinion, they're definitely right, and I respect that. But I just think Drake got so much better over time. But it's a great foundation for what it stands for. Coming in at 7, we got More Life. I really wanted to put So Far Gone at number 7 and More Life at number 8. But honestly, I just listened to More Life way more. Like, off the rip, it wasn't my favorite Drake album, but this album has really grown on me a lot. It's got a nice mixture of like Drake doing the R&B thing and Drake doing the actual rap thing, and the features on this album are amazing. I love almost every feature on it. You can tell Drake was really just like exploring the sounds of the rap game and wanting to work with other artists that he hasn't really gotten the chance to work with and really like get down with in the real album mode type of thing, and I really enjoy that. I listen to this album so much. I really have been getting into the older songs. Probably my favorite track, honestly, is like Teenage Fever, which is a lot slower of a song, but you also get songs like Free Smoke where Drake is just spitting and like rapping his ass off. The one downside to this album I do think is how long this album actually is. I'm pretty sure it's 22 songs, 23 songs, but if you take that into reference, like I think every single one of these songs actually ended up charting in the top 100, top 200 of the Billboard, which is very rare. I think this album was put out at a time where Drake was like at his peak after Views and all that. People thought he was just top of the career, and More Life was probably a little disappointing to some of his viewers viewers like that, coming off the hi-hats of like Views, What a Time to Be Alive, and in that era. It's just, this one is kind of a tiny bit of a fall off, and that's what I see it as, but there's still a lot of good music on this album. So now taking it 2 years back at number 5, I got What a Time to Be Alive. I'm a super big Future fan. I can see why some people might put this in the back, but I love how these two sound together. This is just pure chemistry. This is so rare in the music industry to see two people, especially in a short period of time, make music like this. Like, every song on this album I actually do really enjoy. I wouldn't have put it above So Much Gone, Thank Me Later, if I didn't think it was a super strong project. And I love Future. I love Drake. I love how the two sound together. I kind of like how they sound together better than alone, which is obviously a big thing to say because I'm a big fan of both of these artists. But I think this album deserves all the hype, and I wouldn't even be mad if people put this one top 3. Now, a year after What a Time to Be Alive in 2015, 2016, we got my number 4 choice, Views. I think this album did get snubbed of a Grammy. This album was super hyped up when it came out with verses like Rico. Drake was going really crazy with the merch and everything like that. Views 16 Summer. He went back to back with the Meek Mill beef, everything. Then this album just exploded. I don't think a lot of the people off rip were like, this album's kind of whatever, but it grew on me a lot on the early days. Like, after a month of listening to it, I got really into like Child's Play and all the big hits on it. But then I go back to songs like You With Me, Fire and Desire, Views Near the End, Faithful, and you see a lot of just really good music in there. I don't think it's Drake's best music. I just think it's really dope that he was able to like take all of his life experiences, and this is when Drake like was at the founding of the fame. Everyone was in his face. It was like when Kanye in 2010, the media was all over him. He was literally the biggest thing in the world, basically what Travis Scott is now. And then a lot of people like take that fame and don't really go with it, and sometimes they fall off, but I don't think Views had that fall off at all. It's just, I think it's a great project. Now taking it to 2015, Drake, probably peak Drake in my opinion. If you're reading this, it's too late. Album came out after Take Care, Nothing Was the Same, and then he came with If You're Reading This, It's Too Late in 2015. This album was just, I don't think a lot of people were ready for Drake going this hard on an album. Obviously songs like Legend, 10 Bands, and then like Energy, Know Yourself, that's just the beginning of the album. And you go at the bottom with songs like 6 p.m. in New York. This man is just rapping his ass off. A lot of people give it hate for him, like with the ghostwriters and all that. A lot of people in the music industry have ghostwriters. I don't think you know it, but it's definitely a big thing. People can say Drake took lyrics from places, whatever, people wrote for him. It's a normal thing in the music industry, but I think that does kind of take away from this album. But for what it is, bro, this album is crazy. This album has banger after banger after banger. Travis on Company, Lil Wayne on Used To. It's just like the features are awesome. Every song is there. Top to bottom, there's just great songs on the album. There are a couple low spots, but overall, this album's like a 9 out of 10 album in my opinion. At the end of the day, I think this is a really strong project, and definitely Drake's. I put it at 3. I mean, like, and you guys know it's ahead of it, but I think the albums ahead of it are just way too strong, and I think as alone, this album is a lot better than a lot of music everybody puts out. But it's just, he has so many strong albums, and the albums in front of it are just amazing. So now we've come down to the top 2. If you guys know what it is, it's Nothing Was the Same and Take Care. Personally, I'm not mad at if you switch up the top 3, top 4, top 5. It's all opinions. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It depends what you like in your music taste. And for my music taste personally, I put Take Care at 2nd. Take Care is just one of those albums and benchmark albums for music that are just like crazy. It was a super big buildup from Drake. That jump from going from like Thank Me Later to Take Care of like 2 years is just a crazy jump, bro. Obviously, I can name every single song on Take Care. I'm sure you guys know it, but I don't know. There's that. The one thing this album doesn't really have is like the influence and the impact factor. This was just Drake going in. The one thing that Drake is just so good at, outside of just killing every single beat, like having the best flow, is like having that balance between hits and like slower and good songs. Like, he has Marvin's Room, Doing It Wrong on this album, but then he also has songs like The Motto that are just like, he just goes back and forth with being like, shows off how amazing a rapper he is and how musically talented he is with songs like Headlines and then Crew Love with The Weeknd, where he shows just so much chemistry. But then he can really just slow it down with a song like Marvin's Room. And as much as people clown it, meme it, that's an amazing song in my opinion. Even Shot for me too. Like, this album's a piece of work. This album's definitely a 9.5 out of 10 in my opinion. Probably wouldn't change anything on it. I just think the number 1 is just more impressive. Obviously, if you know Drake discography at number 1, I have Nothing Was the Same. In my opinion, this is a 10 out of 10 album. I don't think I would change anything on this album. I love every single song on it just as much as the next. Furthest Thing, To Own It, To Connect, to even like the high peaks like All Me. And then it's just like you have From Time. It's just, this album has everything you want in an album. Everything that I want in an album is on this album. I just think Drake went absolutely crazy, especially like after a huge Grammy winning album like Take Care. A lot of time the fame gets to people's heads, but Drake took a lot of like his learning experiences and like where he really came from and put that into the album as well. And I think it's super, super awesome to listen to. Definitely top to bottom, this is his strongest project. There's not a low song in this album, and the highs on this album are just consistent throughout song 1 all the way to the bottom at the 20 deluxe album. Like this, yeah, I can't even. Mostly, I just enjoy it because of the music and like what Drake was doing, talking about on this album is just super, super fire. And the way he's spitting it, just every verse, bro, every single beat, he just manipulated it, took into every single account of what was going into the music, into the beat, into the mixing, and he just came out with the best flow, slammed every single lyric. It sounds so personal, but also so hard at the same time. Even some of the points that I can't relate to, I still just like sing along with, bro, because it's just like Drake is just going so hard on some of these beats while just keeping it so real. That's why I think people really enjoy artists like J. Cole, but even him, like I don't think he could stack up to an album like this. I could talk about this album and have a big album breakdown as much as I want, but at the end of the day, I think this is the best album. If you made it this far, thank you for watching the whole video. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Comment below what you would rank these projects. I'm going through all the comments. Do whatever you need. Thank you for showing love, bro. We really appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one.